Hare Krishna. You know, Songkran is the big, like the Thai New Year, the big festival every year. And in Chiang Mai, it's really big. Even people in other parts of Thailand, they talk about the Chiang Mai Songkran. But when often these Thai holidays come, I always look on Wikipedia to see the origin. Like I learned the Thai word, bucha is the Thai word for puja, you know, and there were some other ones we knew. Oh, racha for Raja, Buri for Puri. There are many interesting connections with the Sanskrit language. So as it turns out, although it's not at the same time, Songkran comes from Sankranti, which is today, Makara Sankranti. And although we follow the lunar calendar, for some, this is the solar day. It's every January 14th or some 14 to 15, that area. Makara Sankranti, supposed to be the move. There's the sun when it moves to the north and when it moves to the south. And I think this is, does anyone know? Uttarayan? Anyway, so it's an important day on the calendar in general. But for us this day is significant, and particularly because of how Srila Guru Maharaj responded to it. And we think of him saying things like, saints are living scriptures. He certainly fits that criteria. That things that we read, or think that we read, when they would come through Srila Guru Maharaj, they would have new meaning and were newly accessible. Things that maybe we didn't understand to what degree they were important, serious, profound, significant in various ways. So, in what will follow, I said Sannyas Smaram, that's actually going to follow. But Srila Guru Maharaj, he would be observably moved at this time of the year. Because we sing every night, twice a day or more, Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korelo Prakash, about Nitya Lila, that these pastimes are eternal. It's according to the Vrindavan Das himself says, when describing these, like a bird flying in the infinite sky. It's according to the capacity of that bird. And another example given the ocean, the capacity of the swimmer, or those pearl divers. They still have them in different places. Where? Bahrain. You know, where men, according to their ability to hold their breath, they go down. You know. Those type of examples have been given according to the ability, as how much they can extract. That's why they're the higher group, but because the analysis is there from our Guru Varga, we can respectfully invoke that. What does Mahaprabhu reveal to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? His Ishvara Murti. Ishvara in Bengali means God. It's like the Bengali word for God. We go, controller. And Parameshwara means supreme controller. That's true. But Ishwar is like the Bengali word for God. So when it says he revealed his Ishwar Murti, he revealed to him that he's God. So normally you would think that's enough, right? In the Western world, that would be enough, right? And he revealed that he was God. How are you going to top that? You know? What Krishna consciousness movement tops that. That's why it's so amazing. So he reveals Ishwara Murti, the Shadbhuj Murti, saying, who was Ramachandra millions of years ago? He has the bow. Who was Krishna? The flute. And now, it depends on which version you say. Now he's the sannyasi, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari. He later writes, Sarvabhauma composes this Shatakam, 100 slokas, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. What's the next line? Dino's right? Shikshartam Purusha Purana, I forgot. Very beautiful. And Guru Maharaj is saying, why this is important? The court pundit of the king of Puri, Pratap Parudra Maharaj, has been converted into a devotee of Mahaprabhu. So naturally, Mahaprabhu's devotees are going everywhere. Did you see what Sarvabhauma wrote? What? No, 100 slokas praising the divinity of Mahaprabhu. Oh, really? So for propaganda purposes, and not just propaganda, they're very beautiful and substantial. And he's told to be Brihaspati, the guru of the gods. Jupiter's Brihaspati planet. He's the guru of the devas. He gets entrance into Gaur Leela. But in the Ramananda Samvad, Mahaprabhu reveals to Ramananda Roy, Rasa Raj Mahabhav Duyaka Roop. Rasa Raj Krishna, Akhila Rasam Murti Krishna, Raso Vaisa Krishna. We're talking to one Buddhist friend in China, right? And he brought us some tea, like yellow tea. So we went, we've got one of everything now, or more. Right? But so, and Nalina and they're having a discussion how there's like 1,000 different types of tea in China. Right? You understand? 1,000 varieties, I can say. So, but then they want to talk about emptiness. Right? So I said, we'll open a restaurant called The Restaurant of the Empty Pot. Come to my restaurant, the restaurant of the empty pot, and I will serve you unlimited emptiness. Right? But if you go to Buddhist restaurant in China, there'll be 100 different preparations you can eat. I'm not exaggerating. 100 different ones, right, from the emptiness group. And the land of 1,000 different types of tea. This one's a little like that. So my point is, and I could say this here because it's a little mildly humorous, that, so do you think the original source of all of this variegatedness is nothing? Or it's one substance, yes, but in variegated position. That's the beauty of Mahaprabhu's Achintya Beda Bed. Same, but different. Right? So the source, Rasaraj, he's full of flavor, taste what we want. We want to taste nice things, smell nice things, touch nice things, hear beautiful things, see, hear, taste, touch, smell, feel. Rasa Raj. Krishna is the Rasa king, the king of all of these experiences. If you appreciate them on any level, but take it to the infinite degree of expression and appreciation, that is Krishna. But who is Mahaprabhu? So Mahaprabhu showing Ramananda, Rasaraj and Mahabhav, the one who can extract. Krishna is this, nectar personified, but how to get it? How to extract the nectar from the Rasaraj? Radharani, Hladani Shakti, Pushti Karan. She is extracting from Krishna and nourishing her group and giving Krishna happiness. What do you give to the man who has everything? What do you give to someone whose happiness personified? She can make happiness, ecstasy personified, ecstatic. So what is her position? So Rasaraj Mahabhav, Dui Ekarup, they've come together as one in Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How wonderful is that? So Guru Maharaj would say, only to Ramananda he revealed this. To Sarvabhauma, Ishwara Murti. So Guru Maharaj, when this time would come, Nitya Lila, Korilo Prakash, he's thinking of these particular pastimes. But at the basis of these pastimes, there's some sadness for the devotees. Like Guru Maharaj, he once sang these lines, just a few lines. Nariya dar kore, how do you say? Nariya dar kore gora jaire. How they cried and wailed when Mahaprabhu left Navadvip. Even the offenders. Sometimes the Orient people, Puri, or they say, I mean, it's kind of like charming nationalism or sectarian. They say, the Bengali people could not appreciate Mahaprabhu. He had to leave there. But he came to stay in Orissa. And Guru Maharaj would jokingly say, Navadvip he rejected, Puri he collected. So that's what they'd say. Rather than saying it's part of the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, they say, Bengali people don't appreciate Mahaprabhu. He had to leave Bengal. So it's kind of like charming, whatever it is, sectarianism. But you can do worse things than claim Gauranga as your own. I had an assignment in ISKCON of preaching to the Minister of Tourism and Commerce in the Bengal government. Believe it or not. Sometimes I don't believe it. But his name was Tarun Kanti Ghosh. He's the grandson of, what's his name? Amiya Nimai Charit. Prafula Kanti Ghosh. Anyway, the editor of the Amrita Bazar Patrika newspaper. But he would come to the Calcutta temple, chant some rounds, we would have a discussion. He was a delightful gentleman. But he had donated, we had Radha Govinda and Mahaprabhu. So K.K. Birla donated Radha Govinda deities, and Tarun Kanti Ghosh, he donated Mahaprabhu. So after our meeting would finish, I'd always walk him to the door, and he would turn to me, and like a little tear in his eye, and he'd go, Amar Gauranga. You go, my Gauranga. And so I'm saying there may be worse things, there's certainly worse things in the world. I don't know if there's a better thing in the world than to say Amar Gauranga, my Gauranga. So, still, Guru Maharaj will point out, and you see, and everyone's seen, who's been to India, Bengal, and other, Mahaprabhu is always, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, appearing in his grihastha vesh, the dress of a householder, with his hair. They don't worship Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi. And we've heard this from the very beginning. And what we're told, many things in Krishna consciousness, you hear, it may take 30, 40, 50 years to feel what you heard, or 30 lifetimes to feel it. But if it's coming to us from our Guru Varga, we'll hear it, try to embrace it. So we'd hear, it makes the devotees unhappy. So the lower devotees, they'll think, oh, we love him and I don't understand why. But there's something there. How much they love Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit. We can't properly imagine that. But in the presence of Guru Maharaj, we could feel that he's got that by his mood during this particular time. And you know, what is that they make at the mat? Dalma. For the next 3 days, it's like dal with vegetables in it. Very simple, and rice. And Guru Maharaj, the mat prasadam would be very simple. Why? Because for 3 days, Mahaprabhu isn't eating. So Guru Maharaj didn't make everybody fast. He's not trying to, but he would make the prasadam very simple. And he'll be thinking, now Mahaprabhu's here, he's going here, he's there. Even in his final days, that was his, part of his meditation was Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu and like Dham Parikrama, now he's going to different places. Sometimes he'd be in a very divine state and devotees would ask him, Maharaj, where are they now? And he would start telling them, oh, they're in Shantipur now, and then they're going. And he's very serious about it. So we hear in Chaitanya Bhagavat and Charitamritam, but of the two, remember, Chaitanya Bhagavat is more focused on the Adi Leela pastimes of Mahaprabhu. Vrindavan Das is praising, Krishna Das is praising Vrindavan Das Thakur as the Vyas of Chaitanya Leela. But it's focused on the Adi Leela, meaning his birth pastimes, childhood pastimes, teacher pastimes, household pastimes, up to sannyas. And then fade. Chaitanya Charitamritam really begins in earnest in the Madhya Leela after he's taken sannyas. But we're told in the Chaitanya Bhagavat that Nimai Pandit, the scholar, the teacher, it's like a Prakrita Leela of Krishna. You would think he'd be the teacher of the most advanced Sanskrit class. But no, he's the teacher of the junior students. The beginning, he's young himself and he's teaching the lower level students, so to speak. But in their presence, defeating Keshava Kashmiri. But that Nimai Pandit, part of the tradition at that time, departed father, ancestors, you must go to Varanasi, Benares, Gaya, and do some offering to the ancestors. But perhaps there he met Ishwarapuri, disciple of Madhavendra Puri, his guru. When he returns to Navadip, the Sanskrit scholar Nimai Pandit is chanting the Gopi, Gopi Gopi, names of gopis and just Gopi Gopi. And his students think that he's lost his mind. So they're telling him things like, in the scriptures it's recommended that one take the name of Krishna. So if they're trying to correct him, but this is the beginning of this Bhakta Bhav and Radha Bhav, and he's saying, Krishna, he's a despicable man. He starts cursing Krishna because he's in the mood of like a spurned gopi, Braja Gopi. Say, don't mention the name Krishna to me. And he's with a stick, he's chasing after the student. The student's running to the end. Nimai Pandit's lost his mind. What? So the others are saying, yeah, when did he become? I mean, he was always arrogant, but now he's like unbearable. He's a Brahmin, but we're Brahmins too. We're going to stand up and show him. And they try with Gangadas Pandit, his older teacher, to bring him under control, but really he's out of control. Sachi Mata even thinks he's lost his mind. And like Chinese medicine, they have medicine in India, like you put on your head, makes you calm. What was it? Brahmi Rasayan. She from the Kaviraj gets some, put it on his head, and he's laughing wildly, madly, insanely, for hours, not stopping, for hours laughing. And Sachimata is saying, oh, Nimai's lost his mind. You can imagine if your son and he's just laughing for like 6 hours. Like put him in the car. Then she's thinking what to do. So they have a big bathtub. They fill the bathtub with the oil. If we just immerse him in the oil, maybe that'll calm him down, bring him to his senses. And he's sitting there playing in the oil, laughing wildly, madly, and Sachimata's crying. And Srivas Thakur comes and says, and she's saying, oh, Srivas, Nimai's lost his mind. And Srivas Thakur says, what he's got, I want a drop of that. And then Nimai Pandit suddenly stops laughing and says, Srivas, if you thought I was crazy, I would just leave the world. But that you don't, we have some work to do here. So Srivas Thakur, Panchatattva, everything's fine, it's beautiful. Sachimata's there, Vishnu Priya. But Nimai Pandit, one day he says something mysterious because people are finding fault with him in Navadip, and he speaks of this Ayurvedic medicine called Pipalikanda, which Guru Maharaj said is like cure for cold and cough. And he's saying, I brought the right medicine to cure the cold, but their mucus is increasing. Or as Guru Maharaj put it, he said, the patient is abusing the doctor. Here's the doctor who can save you, and you're abusing him. So he's thinking, what to do? And he thinks, if I take sannyas, because of Indian culture, you have to bow down when you see sannyasis. So he's saying, if I take sannyas, I can go door to door. People will bow down to me, they'll give something, and then they'll get so much benefit. Right now, not only am I not helping them, I've made their condition like 1,000,000 times worse because they're offending me. Just think about it. The Mahavadanaya avatar we're offending. So he tells his plan to Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is in a state of shock. And immediately he's thinking about his hair. They're all his hair was so beautiful. And he's saying, then he's going to have to shave his, oh no. And he starts thinking about Sachi Devi, that this will kill her. She won't be able to live. She already lost his elder brother, Vishwarup, Jagannath Misra, husband, father. He's thinking, Nityananda Prabhu is thinking, Sachi Mata won't survive this. So he and Nimai Pandit, they're having this discussion, but Nityananda is saying, you are independent. I mean, and coming from Nityananda Prabhu, that really means something. You know. He's Krishna's first other. That's why Guru Maharaj said he can argue with Krishna. He's other than Krishna, to use that word. Like Shiva's other than Krishna. So they can oppose sometimes. But here Nityananda is saying, I know you. And whatever is your will, Krishna Richa, that must happen. But Nimai Pandit is saying, also, you know these pastimes and what we have to do. And they have some kind of really private discussion that's not even in the book. Because that how could you do something that would finish Sachi Mata? So they have to make some kind of adjustment. And he tells Gadadhar, Nityananda faints actually. Most of them, they can't take it, but he knows what's going to happen. And this is the point, we can't imagine how beautiful and loving and affectionate are these pastimes, but at least theoretically we should have a hint. Because whatever we might think of ourselves, if we can project something, what they have infinite capacity to love one another, and it's in full-blown expression. We can't think, oh, these are the pastimes, and it's not like that. It's heart-rending, it's heartbreaking. As much we know what it's like when, if you say, when child's gonna go off to college or something, leave the house, it's gonna be a heartbreaking moment for the parent. And it's a crude example, but magnify that to an infinite degree. How should we think? To separate Nimai Pandit from Sachi Mata, that's unthinkable. That's why Nityananda Prabhu, it makes him faint to entertain that possibility. And Gadadhar Pandit is told, and who else? Mukunda, I think. Chandrasekhar. So, Nimai Pandit calls it was probably the last meeting at his house, but devotees don't know that. Only this handful know what's going to happen. It's on this night. And they come, they're singing, having killed, everything's beautiful. They're garlanding Mahaprabhu, he's garlanding the devotees. And Kolavecha Sridhar comes, who we know. He was those who went to India, remember leaf plates made out of leaves, and little cups made out of leaves. his occupation is selling those things. They're very cheap. And I mean, if they're cheap now, you can imagine how cheap they were 500 years ago. But Nimai Pandit will, and whatever he makes from selling the leaf plates and paraphernalia, 50% is spent on Ganga Puja. That's his program. But Mahaprabhu likes him very much. He's captured Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit did the first Nagar Sankirtan, the big, in the streets of Navadip, when he became thirsty from singing and dancing, they stopped at Kolavecha Sridhar's hut. And he had an old, rusty water pot, because he's so poor. That's the water that Mahaprabhu drank, like nectar, because it was from a devotee. Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhakta prayachati. Anyway, and he has another pastime, the Mahaprakash, or what is it, 27, 28 hours he's in this, on the Sringasana, in this divine mood, fulfilling all the internal desires of all the devotees, granting Krishna prem, this, that. When Kolavecha Sridhar appears before him to submit his request, well, I should say that before that Nimai Pandit, why he loves him so much, he always goes to Kolavecha Sridhar to buy leaf plates and leaf cup from him. But he doesn't want to pay the price. So Sridhar will say to him, that's not the price I'm asking for. Remember, he's asking for almost nothing. And Nimai Pandit will say, give me a discount. And he'll say, I can't give a discount. I've already discounted it. You could buy from somebody else. No, I want to buy from you. So, Nimai Pandit is cheating him, who has nothing and spends half of his nothing on Ganga Puja. That's the man he's cheating. So when he's in the Mahaprakash and Kolavecha Sridhar comes before him and says, I'll grant whatever desire you have in your heart. He says, just my desire is that lifetime after lifetime, that beautiful Brahmin boy, Nimai Pandit, will come and cheat me. That's my desire. That Kolavecha Sridhar comes that evening with a type of squash called lao. And he gives that, and Mahaprabhu's thinking, there's no tomorrow. Can't have it tomorrow. There is no tomorrow in this house. Someone else happened to bring milk. So Nimai Pandit gives the milk and the lao squash to Sachi Mata. This is the only relief she gets because she knows what he's going to do also. She cooks that. It's the last thing he eats. All the devotees leave, and that night, who is in his house? No, not her yet, but two other devotees are with him, and they're sleeping. Advaita, so Nityananda, they go into, it's described as yoga nidra, the three of them. Sachi Mata cannot sleep. This is so painful. Vishnu Priya, in this context, is not mentioned. That's how unbearable that is. She is, but it's not much. Anyway, Sachi Mata cannot sleep. She's like a stone in the doorway, a statue. And with Vishnu Priya sleeping his wife, she's 14 years old. And it's written in the Bhagavatam, a mystical sloka that appears to be praise of Ramachandra's pastimes. Vishwanath Chakrabarti interprets Mahaprabhu pastime. It says, Tyaktva sudushtuja surepshita rajalakshmin dharmista arja bachashad nirgararanyam mayam rigam doita ipsita ambadavad bande mahapurushate charanarvindam. He has to reject the imperial throne of the Krishna Prem in the heart of Vishnu Priya. Sachi Mata, and he says some things to her. She cannot speak, and he leaves and swims across the Ganga toward Katwa. The devotees come the next day, and Navadvip is devastated, all the devotees, to discover he's not there. They're fainting, they're crying. And Sachi Mata says, you're all qualified for whatever is in this house. It's like we say, the Bhagavatam, tasmai deyam tato grajam sa pujo cha yatahyaham. The devotees are qualified as Krishna. Whatever is his is theirs. So she's saying, whatever is here is yours. Whatever is his is yours. And Nimai Pandit goes to Katwa, to the ashram of Keshava Bharati, to take sannyas. And the word is spread, so many people are gathering, as we hear also, Rupa Goswami's Chaitanyastakam, Sada Pasya Sriman Drita Manujakai Pranayitam Bahadbiya Givanai Girisha Parameshta Parameshti Prabhritibhi Sabhaktebhya Sudham Nijabhajana Mudram Upadisham Sat Chaitanya Kame Dushor Api Dushor Yasyati Padam. Even millions are coming because gods are descending in human forms, Brahma, Shiva, others. They're crying. When it comes time to cut his hair, Guru Maharaj says in his Premadama Stojam, the Laka Lochaneshu Harsha Varsha, like tears raining from the eyes of millions. See the beautiful hair of Nimai Pandit shorn from him. But Keshava Bharati, seeing him at first, and he's being threatened by the people. If you give sannyas, we'll destroy your ashram. And some lady also says, who's thought up this sannyas thing anyway? Where's that come from? That you'll have to leave your mother? This is crazy. Where does it say that? Well, that's the tape our genius in the control room. No. Priyanana tells her mother, like, listen to this tape of Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj saying, you have to give up your mother, your father, they're all temporary. That's the only tape you could find, you could think of to play for your mother. You'll have to give up family life. Like Gurudev said, the person, your mother is nothing, your father is nothing, this world is nothing, you have to give it up. Join the Krishna consciousness movement. And what would Swami Maharaj do? He would just lie in the very sweetest way and say, you don't have to give up anything, just add this, and then you'll have to give up everything. No. But he'd always say that. You don't have to give up anything, just add this. Because he knows if you add this, the whole thing will tilt, and then you end up, Radharani herself says, destitute, devoid, you lose all interest in everything, family, friends, the world, existence, and you become like a bird in a bird's nest, just sometimes going from tree to tree, getting something. She says, that's the effect of hearing about Krishna, your life is ruined. But the other thing, what kind of, you become a bird. What kind of bird? Hangsa, swan, paramahansa. Yes, you lose interest in all the mundane things. Saraswati Thakur says in one purport, as you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and he means substantially, Vaikuntha Nama Grahanam, you lose interest in chanting other things, other sounds. I mean, at least for him and those of his type. So we almost could not believe hearing these things. Almost. It's the almost that makes all the difference. But because we have some faith in our Guru Varga, we can have a hint, understand the direction that it's going. Swarna Koti Darpanaba Deho Varna Gauravam Padma Parijata Gandha Banditanga Saurabam Koti Kami Murchitangri Rupa Rasarangaram Prema Dama Devameva Nomi Gaura Sundaram Swarna Koti Darpanava Deho Varna. Gauranga said, how golden is Gauranga? Like 10 million brilliant shining mirrors made out of pure gold. Koti Kami Murchi Tangri Rupa Rasa Rangaram. 10 million cupids will swoon to see the beauty of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Kesava Bharati is saying how to get out of this. He's saying, you have to get your mother's permission. Right? You have to ask mom. And then he starts running, and Kesava Bharati says, come back, you'll just convince her. Look at you, you're so charming, you're so beautiful, she'll have to agree. Just stay. Then they try to shave his head. Millions of people are crying and fainting. They can't stand it. And the barber, he can't even do it. Somehow they do it, and that barber, Guru said, he swore, I will never touch another head. So he became a sweetmeat maker. And because he touched sweetness personified, they say the sweets he made were extraordinary. And who was it? Srinivasa Acharya, his father, came from his village hearing about this. When it came time to give the name, Kesava Bharati, well first, Mahaprabhu, right before giving the Sannyas mantra, Mahaprabhu says, I heard this in a dream. A Mahajan came to me and told me this. Is this the mantram? So he gives the mantram. Really, he's initiating Kesava Bharati. And this famous mantram, which is generally thought to be Mayavadi, Tattvamasi, has been repurposed by Mahaprabhu. Instead of thou art that divine substance, he's saying, you are his, you belong to him. Krishna, Gopi Bhav. And Kesava Bharati is saying, yes, that is the mantra. So a circle is completed, and the name, and he's saying, generally we should give, Tirtha Ashram, Bharati, Puri, there's different names. He said, and even though my name is Bharati, he said, that won't be appropriate for you. Because the whole world is unconscious, sleeping in ignorance. And you're going to give Chaitanya, consciousness to everyone. and Krishna conscious, not just consciousness, but Krishna consciousness to everyone. Your name must be Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Srinivasa Acharya's father went mad saying, Chaitanya, Chaitanya, Chaitanya. It's all he was just seeing the beauty of Mahaprabhu and taking the name Chaitanya. After all of this happened, he went back to his village and people would say, what happened? And he would say, Chaitanya, Chaitanya. And Guru Maharaj said he became known as Chaitanya Das. And they're trying to do the yagya, Mahaprabhu jumping up, chanting Krishna Nam, dancing. Kahan Krishna Prananath Murali Badan, Kahan Karun, Kahan Pan Brajendra Nandan. He's madly searching for Krishna. Where is Krishna? Remember when Gadadhar, he asked Gadadhar Pandit, where is Krishna? Gadadhar Pandit said, he's in your heart. He started ripping his chest open. Gadadhar, not like that. No, madly he's searching for Krishna. Guru Maharaj said, like an infant, like in a very childlike state. Is he this way, that going? That's why Nityananda could deceive him. He's wandering, they're trying to follow him. Sometimes they lose him, but they hear some pitiful, wailing, crying, heartbreaking lament. And that's Mahaprabhu searching for Krishna, the Lord of his heart, and they run in that direction. He wants to go to Vrindavan. But Guru Maharaj says something interesting too. He said, the power of the affection of the devotees prevents it. That's why he can't leave. It's like the magnetic attraction of their devotion has him circling. He can't, wherever he can't escape the pull of his devotees. Sachi Mata, Vishnu Priya, Advaita, everyone, they're put by their hearts, they're pulling him. And then Nityananda sees an opportunity. He sees some cowherd boys on the banks of the Ganga herding cows, and they're dressed like cowherd boys, wearing turbans, everything. And he said, if a sannyasi comes here and asks you which way is Vrindavan, point like that way. So Nityananda is walking, and Mahaprabhu sees what appears to be a sannyasi. He says, oh, Sripad. Oh, perhaps before that, Mahaprabhu sees, oh, those cowherd boys. And they see Mahaprabhu and they go, they have cows and they're cowherd and they go, Hari Bol. They're going, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And he's saying, oh, I'm in Vrindavan, cowherd boys and Hari Bol. And then he sees Nityananda, oh, Sripad, where are you going? Vrindavan, can I go with you? Yes, it's right here. Don't you see the Jamuna? And Mahaprabhu is singing Kavi Karnapur's sloka. Although interestingly, Kavi Karnapur is probably like a toddler at the time. But he's singing what will later become one of Kavi Karnapur's slokas, Chidananda Bano, what is that something? Nanda Shuno, Brahma Prema Gatri, Datri. Your Krishna, like liquid Brahma, Krishna Prem, liquid flowing, purifying the world. You're that beautiful. So he takes the Ganga to be the Jamuna. Then he bathes happily. And when he comes out, he sees Advaita Acharya. Because Nityananda sent word, bring Advaita on a boat and just have him waiting there. And Mahaprabhu says, Advaita, what are you doing in Vrindavan? How did you know I was there? And Advaita says, how, what do you mean, how did I know? Wherever you are is Vrindavan. Then Nimai Pandit starts saying, Nityananda Advaita. Like, oh, Nityananda, one of his tricks. And Advaita saying, why not, change your clothes are all wet, get a new cloth, come to my place in Shantipur, we eat very simple there. We just little soup, some shak, some vegetable, little, just something you haven't eaten in 3 days. Meanwhile, they've told devotees, go get Sachi Mata. So they take Mahaprabhu to Shantipur. Sita Thakurani cooks everything while Sachi Mata is coming. So during those 3 days, that's when Guru Maharaj is, he can't, in other words, an indication of something, of the love in his heart for Mahaprabhu. He cannot enjoy or eat during that time. He's incapable of doing that. That's what I mean to say. He'll be internally, he's incapable of doing that. We're not like that, but we can, some token we can do. Just simple. If we just give token respect to these things, we'll be unlimitedly benefited. We're not to imitate the higher devotees, but to show respect to what's in their hearts and what they've shown. If we'll just respect that, it'll be very good for us.